In this tutorial, I'll show you how to create a pleated front tuxedo shirt with a bow tie. So I've left the same shirt pattern. I just did a slight less curve here on the sleeve in the back, on the armhole. Otherwise it's the same thing, and I got rid of the collar in the tie. So I'm going to take my rectangular pattern tool, and I'm going to make a bit of a different color. So I'm going to click, make the width 400 and the height 50. Then I'm going to take this point in by 20, or let's start with 15, and do the same thing to this point. And then I'm going to give this a bit of a curve, then take an internal line from this point up to this point, and curve this downwards a bit. Apply fold strength of 100 and fold angle of 0 to the line. And then I'm going to segment sew this rounded part onto the shirt, holding down Shift. And in fact, I think we should do the fold angle to 360, not to 0. And there we go. Now you can control the angle of this by moving these points here. I'm going to select it, reduce the particle distance to 10, and give it a thickness of 2. I'm also going to apply the shirt collar fabric onto it, which will make it nice and stiff. Now, one thing that's been annoying me is these loose bits of material here, so I'm going to take this point and drag that down a touch, and that solves that. So now for the bow tie, I'm going to make a rectangular, the width of 5 and the height of 10, not 20. And then I'm going to apply to the basic fabric a black color. And I just see that my strip here has the basic fabric, so let's put the shirt fabric onto that strip. And then I'll rename this to bow tie stiff middle, and I'll load in my physical property for that. Then I'm going to freeze it. And then I'm going to take my rectangular pattern tool again, and I'm going to make a rectangular that is 40 by 40. Then I'll segment sew this onto here, copy, symmetric paste it, and segment sew this onto that side. I'm going to select this fabric, copy it, and just call this bow tie. And then I'm going to load in the physical property for the bow tie, and drop that onto the bow tie. I'm going to give it a tiny bit of roundness, and reduce the particle distance on both of them to 5. And then I'm going to select this middle piece, copy as internal shape, and then we have to paste it onto this thing because it's on top of the shirt. So I'm going to paste that on the top here. Then use my free sewing tool, double click, and then double click here. Then I'm going to activate it. Select the 3 parts, bring it closer, and simulate. Now, this bow tie keeps wanting to curl up in itself like a flower, and I want it to be open. But it's pretty hard to make it stay open unless we sew it onto the collar. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take an internal line and make a small little line here, then copy that line, and let's just open it and pin it. Something like that. And then we can hide it, show our internal lines, and then we can see that line there even though the pattern is hidden. And then if we click on the collar, we can see where to place it. If I just paste it, it's sort of reversed, so I'm going to reverse paste it instead of just regular pasting it. And transform it a bit. Go to thin textured surface, then it's easier to see it. Something like that. clear my pin, and there it's keeping it nicely in place. Let's do the same thing to the other one. So we can just select this one, copy, and Control R to reverse paste it. Hold down Shift, just slide it across. And then take our segment sew tool and sew it together. Now I don't quite like the shape, how it's sort of coming out rounded from there. If we take a look at this image, we can see it's coming out much straighter, and here it's sort of rounded almost like a girl's bow. So to fix that, I'm going to take this point, hold down Shift and take it down by 5, and then take this one up by 5, and maybe another 5. Something like that. And I think I'm going to make it a bit shorter, the bow tie. And then I'm going to select these 2 layers and layer clone them to give it some more thickness. And I'm going to open it up here, so I'm going to change the sewing to just sew this to here, and not sew these parts together. So then we've got it opening up like that. And then to make this middle part look thicker, I'm going to select it and layer clone that as well. And then make it longer and a bit wider. And we can also give it a bit more thickness. And if we want these parts to be more rounded, all we have to do is give it a bit more roundness. Now I'm going to make the buttons and then the pleats. So I've stretched my shirt, I've pulled on it to make it nice and smooth. Then I'll select it and freeze it.